Trendsetters in World Tourism. WTTC Summit Program for Cancun and WTN Interaction. The World Travel and Tourism Council gave a sneak view of its action-packed program at its upcoming Global Annual Tourism Summit in Cancun, Mexico on April 26 and April 27, 2021. World Tourism Network members will be able to virtually interact in this trend-setting event live-streamed on the World Tourism Network website. WTN members will be able to discuss issues on the WTN member WhatsApp and LinkedIn group, find out who will be in Cancun, who will be speaking, and what the topics are to open the world up for the new normal in travel and tourism. In cooperation with WTTC and WTN, eTurboNews will live stream the event on all platforms, including eTurboNews.com and livestream.travel on April 26 and 27. Jürgen Steinmetz, who is the chairman and founder of the World Tourism Network, WTN, and also the publisher of eTurboNews, will be attending this important summit in Cancun. WTN members physically at the Cancun summit are invited to be included in live coverage. All WTN members may comment and discuss issues on the member-only WhatsApp and LinkedIn group. To become a WTN member, go to www.wtn.travel. Click on the next page to find out more about the upcoming WTTC summit, the program, and the participants. The WTTC Summit Program, all times in Cancun, MEXICO, Central Standard Time. Monday, 26 April 2021. 09:45 10:05 Opening Ceremony. Christopher J. Niceta confirmed, Chair, World Travel and Tourism Council and President and Chief Executive Officer, Hilton Carlos Manuel Joaquin Gonzalez confirmed, Governor of Quintana Roo. 10.15 11.20 Session 1 The Big Picture. 10.15 10.55 Panel. COVID-19, From Start to Present, moderated by WTTC Ambassador Kathleen Matthews. In the span of a few months in the first part of 2020, the world shifted. COVID-19 has caused incredible tragedy, while altering our way of life dramatically. The travel and tourism sector has been tremendously impacted. Seemingly overnight, hundreds of countries halted international travel. In 2020, 197 million travel and tourism jobs were lost and $5.5 trillion in global GDP. Yet our sector has remained steadfast in the face of adversity. With the coronavirus front and center, what has the sector learned from previous crises? How far have we come? And what can we do to recover as swiftly as possible from this crisis? Arnold Donald, President and Chief Executive Officer, Carnival Corporation. Greg O'Hara, Founder and Managing Partner, Certes Reyes Maroto, Minister of Industry, Trade and Tourism of Spain, Jose Hernoso del Valle, Executive Vice President and Chief Revenue Officer, Telmex, Matthew UPCHURCH Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Virtuoso. 10.55 11.20 Flash Learnings. From Impact to Recovery. Leaders will share their experiences, insights, and learnings in addressing COVID-19 and accelerating the recovery of their segment or industry. Keynote 1. Keith Barr, Chief Executive Officer, Intercontinental Hotels Group. Keynote 2. Ariane Gorin, President, Business Services, Expedia. 11.20 12.05 Strategic Insight Sessions in Parallel. Reshaping a Shared Future. The North American Story, moderated by Army Weissman. While states and nations in North America undertook very different crisis response strategies, the region was consistent in its sharp focus to stabilize local economies, support business continuity, and preserve employment. Generating over $240 billion in visitor spend in 2019, the region is a prime destination. In fact, Canada, Mexico, and the United States ranked in the top 15 countries in terms of travel and tourism contribution to GDP. As we look back to move forward, what lessons have North American nations learned, and how are these reshaping the future of travel and tourism in the region? Alex Cazalla, Chairman, Apple Leisure Group. JDO''HARA Chief Executive Officer, Internova Travel Group. Robin Talk Company Owner, Talk Incorporated, Chairman, Tourism Cares SA. Fred Dixon, President and Chief Executive Officer, NYC and Company. Greg Webb, Chief Executive Officer, Travelport. Tales from the East, Asia Pacific's Path to Recovery and Beyond, moderated by Arid Hanakoala, CEO Aptamine Partners. Over the last decade, the Asia Pacific region has been a driver of travel and tourism growth, accounting for 34% of total outbound travel and tourism spend in 2019. This growth was put to a sudden halt due to COVID-19, resulting in prolonged international border closures and the loss of over 70 million travel and tourism jobs in Asia Pacific in 2020. As the region first affected by the pandemic, the sector has had to remain agile in its crisis response, but rigid in its dedication to maintaining public health, business continuity, and jobs. What lessons can the Asia-Pacific region share with the world, and what must be done to once again become a driver of travel and tourism growth? Pansy Ho confirmed, company chairperson and an executive director, MGM China Holdings Limited. Tadashi Fujita, director Japan Airlines. James Liang, company founder and executive chairman, Trip.com Group. Bernadette Romulo, PUIAT Secretary of Tourism of the Philippines, Puny Chapel. Map to the future. Accelerating the European recovery, moderated by Roz Atkin's BBC. Europe has long been a top destination globally, leading international visitor spending, with $619 billion spent in 2019 alone. Like most other regions, Europe's travel and tourism sector has been devastated by COVID-19, with numerous countries imposing travel restrictions, leading to the loss of almost 20 million jobs in 2020. While domestic and regional travel began picking up in the summer, second waves shook early signs of recovery and raised alarm bells. How can the European experience with COVID-19 be of value to the rest world, and what needs to be done to further accelerate the recovery of the sector and rebuild for the future? Caroline Lebouchtre confirmed, Chief Executive Officer, État France Tourism Development Agency. Friedrich Jossien confirmed, Chief Executive Officer, TUI Group. Nigel Huddleston MP confirmed, Minister of Tourism of the United Kingdom. Roberto Martinoli confirmed, President and Chief Executive Officer, Silversea Cruise. Robin Ingle confirmed, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Ingle International. Shifting gears for recovery. Rebuilding travel and tourism in Latin America, moderated by Arturo Rukhan confirmed, President, Saracen Plus Associates. As COVID-19 swept through Latin America, it destroyed almost 10 million jobs in its wake. The closure of international borders to protect public health has been devastating to the sector and made its 2019 GDP contribution of almost $300 billion, a goal for recovery rather than a marker on its path to future growth. What strategies and policies are being implemented or need to be enacted to recover the millions of jobs destroyed and the $110 billion GDP lost to establish a more resilient, sustainable and inclusive sector? Martin Cano confirmed, Managing Director, Eurotour DESCNCANI confirmed, Chief Executive Officer, Libertador Hotels, RESORTS and Spas. Gordon Wilson confirmed, President, WorldReach Software. Julien Guerrero ROZCO confirmed, Vice Minister of Tourism of Colombia. Flash learnings, from impact to recovery. Leaders will share their experiences, insights and learnings in addressing COVID-19 and accelerating the recovery, from creating a contactless experience in air corridors to enhancing health and safety protocols. Richard Fain confirmed, CHAIRMAN and Chief Executive Officer, Royal Caribbean Cruises Limited. Hot seat. Testing until a vaccine, moderated by Peter Greenberg. There is a need to ensure sufficient and swift testing capacity for COVID-19, not only to minimize the spread of the virus before a vaccine is widely available, but also because it is a prerequisite for travelers to feel safe and comfortable. What is needed to ensure we have an appropriate quantity of tests readily available at an affordable price with high accuracy and an acceptable turnaround time? When might a vaccine become widely available? Harry Theodoros, Minister of Tourism of Greece. Panel, Rebuilding Traveler Confidence in the Wake of COVID-19, moderated by Arnie Weissman. While the widespread availability of a vaccine will be a game changer for travel and tourism, interim solutions that enable people to live and travel prior to a vaccine will be key. While certain groups remain hesitant to travel, the majority is still fueled by wanderlust, with 83% of global travelers planning to travel before a vaccine becomes available. From transparency and authenticity to coordination, communication, technology and protocols, how is the travel and tourism sector rebuilding traveler confidence in the wake of COVID-19? Marian Euro, Director General, Tourism de Barcelona. Enrique Berra, Founder, President and Chief Executive Officer, City Sightseeing Worldwide. Claudia Cornejo, Minister of Foreign Trade and Tourism of Peru. Gibran Chapper, Executive Vice President, Palace Resorts. Daniel Richards, Chief Executive OFFICER and Founder, Global Rescue. 14.20, 14.35 Hot Seat. The Traveler of the Future, moderated by Glenda McNeil, President, Enterprise Strategic Partnerships, American Express. Travel is the out-of-home activity which Americans have missed the most. Yet travelers' attitudes and expectations may have shifted during COVID-19. As we work to revitalize the travel and tourism sector, how have travelers' trends, desires, and demands shifted? Will travel be viewed differently? As we work to restore traveler confidence, how must we adapt to enable the sector to thrive once again? Brian Chesky, confirmed, Company FOUNDER and Chief Executive Officer, Airbnb. Strategic Insight Sessions in Parallel. Travel in the Fast Lane. SAFE and Seamless Travel, moderated by Peter Greenberg. With 45% of passengers ready to discard their paper passports and use biometric identification instead, it is clear that digital identity and biometric identification will become increasingly important. This will be combined with an acceleration of innovations in HEALTH and safety, ranging from thermal imagining to electrostatic sprays. As the sector redoubles its efforts to provide a safe and seamless traveler experience to rebuild traveler confidence, how will it respond to new health requirements and integrate testing ahead of the vaccine while moving towards a contactless traveler journey? Sean Donahue, Chief Executive Officer, Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport; Cully Craighead, PRESIDENT and Chief Executive Officer; Clea McGill, ITMANN Group Chief Executive Officer; Vision Boxos Air Ricardo Botelho, Chief Executive OFFICER and Executive Director, Alta. Distant lands, familiar processes. The harmonization of HEALTH and safety protocols moderated by Chris Ship. Following lockdowns and the rise of remote work, travelers are more eager than ever to discover new countries, or rediscover familiar ones, with 79% of people claiming they were more likely to visit their dream destination once restrictions were lifted. What's more, 69% of travelers cite cleanliness and health and safety measures as a critical component to rebuild confidence. How have health and safety measures been adapted and how have they helped the recovery? Kim Day, Chief Executive Officer, Denver International Airport; Renelik Ginazdu, CROES confirmed, Chief Executive Officer, Tourism Authority of Aruba; David Lavril, Chief Executive Officer, Airports and Borders; Sita Ted Balistreri, CHAIRMAN and Chief Executive Officer, Canary Row Company; Andrew Grisdale, Chief Executive Officer and sole founder, Pelagio. From turmoil to transformation. Protecting our WORKFORCE and recovering 100 million jobs moderated by Richard Quest, CNN. As arrivals stopped abruptly in early 2020, the fuel for the growth of travel and tourism halted, and the sector struggled to protect its workforce. While the sector's agility and governmental policies provided much-needed lifeline, more will be needed to recover 100 million jobs destroyed globally. As a sector that is all about people, what should the sector do to protect the millions of livelihoods that rely on the sector and bring back those who lost their jobs? Shirley Tan, Chief Executive Officer, Regwilly Property Group; Jean-Baptiste Lemoyne, Minister of State for Tourism, French Nationals Abroad and Francophonie of France; Marc HOPLAMAZIANPRESIDENT and Chief Executive Officer, Hyatt Hotels Corporation; Paul Griffiths, Chief Executive Officer, Dubai Airports International. Reboot, adapt, and thrive, the path to recovery for destinations moderated by Jacqueline Gifford. The desire to stay close to home and travel domestically or regionally in 2020 was fueled by the comfort of the familiar and the fear of getting infected or quarantined in a distant destination. Research revealed that 86% of recent air travelers were somewhat or very worried about being quarantined while traveling. As we look to the future, how can the sector capitalize on the resurgence of domestic and regional travel? And how can it ultimately accelerate the return to international travel, which is key to the sector's recovery? Carolyn BTTAP, RESIDENT and Chief Executive Officer, Visit California; Gilda Perez Alvarado, Global Chief Executive Officer, JLLHOTELS and Hospitality; Rob TORRES, Managing Director, Travel, Google Ms. Emily HSSAI and Executive Vice President, Consumer Travel; Sir Christopher Thompson, PRESIDENT and Chief Executive Officer, Brand USA. Keynote: The G20 in action. An unprecedented crisis requires unprecedented action and collaboration. This is evident in the coordinated actions the G20 has taken in the face of COVID-19. What has been accomplished under the Kingdom's leadership of the G20, and what more needs to be done to enable the sector's recovery? Ahmed Akil Al-Khateb confirmed, Minister of Tourism, Saudi Arabia. 16.10-16.55 Panel: Recovering 100 million jobs moderated by Aradhana Khowala, Chief Executive Officer and Founder, Aptamine Partners. The private sector cannot accelerate recovery and bring back 100 million jobs alone. Public-private collaboration is essential. Key principles from international coordination to reopen borders and aligning HEALTH and hygiene standards to the implementation of international testing protocols and the promotion of travel must be adopted. As the sector works hand in hand to achieve full recovery, what learnings have been gained, and what more needs to be done to achieve full recovery? Craig SMITH confirmed, Group President, International, Marriott International; Luis Felipe do Oliveira, Director General, Airports Council INTERNATIONALC, World Isabel HILL, Acting Deputy Assistant Secretary and Director, National Travel and Tourism Office, U.S. Department of Commerce; Luis Felipe do Oliveira, Director General, Airports Council INTERNATIONALC, World. 1.1. Transitioning from crisis to sensation facilitated by Gloria Guevara confirmed, PRESIDENT and Chief Executive Officer, World TRAVEL and Tourism Council. This one-on-one interview with former president and 2016 Nobel Peace Prize winner Juan Manuel Santos will explore his resolute efforts to achieve peace, reconciliation, and justice in Colombia, and the incredible transformation of its travel and tourism sector. How did Colombia transition from what was effectively a geopolitical crisis and a lagging tourism hub into a leading global destination and a nation prioritizing sustainability and development? Juan Manuel Santos, president of Colombia 2010-2018. Click on X for Tuesday's program. Tuesday, 27 April, 2021. Keynote: The impactful future of travel and tourism. Travel and tourism has always been a sector for the people, by the people. It meaningfully changes the lives of the people and communities it touches. It not only creates jobs, but reduces poverty and inequality and enriches communities both economically and socially. As we look to the future, how can we further protect and engage vulnerable groups and communities, while fostering innovation and preserving ecosystems, ultimately having tremendous social impact and making a lasting difference? 09.10, 10.05 in depth. Empowering our women and our youth. This one-on-one interview will focus on the personal experience of an inspiring leader who has and continues to play an important role in pushing our youth to reach higher and empowering girls and women to learn and thrive in their education, their careers, and their lives. 10.05, 10.25 Flash Learnings. Making a lasting impact. Leaders will share their insights and learnings in addressing issues from accessibility and inclusion to mental health experiences, and how they plan to elevate these in the wake of COVID-19. Hike Solo, FOUNDER and President, Roommate Group Daryl WAD confirmed, Chairman, Intrepid Group. 11.10, 11.35 Hot Seat. Going Green. 3 leaders discuss how the travel and tourism sector is becoming increasingly sustainable, and how they can help to shift traveler behavior using technology. Ivan Skildsc, Minister of Tourism of Panama Sabino Fluxity HIENEMANN Vice CHAIRMAN and Chief Executive Officer, Iberostar Holder BLANKENSTEIN Executive Vice President Airline Commercial and Operations, Valeris. 11.35 12.20 Panel. Sustainability through social responsibility. More than ever before, we dream of discovering the world and its natural wonders. Yet to ensure our planet's long-term sustainability, we must all play our part. While travel and tourism has made great progress, we must move further and faster, working together to take action to address the threats on our communities and environment, from climate change, plastics, and wildlife preservation to human trafficking. What should the sector concretely do to accelerate the sustainability agenda, so as to preserve people and our wildlife and ecosystems? And what can we do collectively to help stimulate new traveler behaviors? Norma Elena Negrita Guello, Chief Executive Officer, EPTA Mexico, Jeffrey Kent, Founder and Company Chairman, ABERCROMBIE in Kent, Rita Marcus, Secretary of State of Tourism of Portugal, Rocky Robert Phillips, Chief Executive Officer, Ras Alkema Tourism Development Authority, Luis Garcia Cotton, Chief Executive Officer, Europa Mundo Vacations. 12.20 12.35 Hot Seat. Remote work, normalized. Like many other sectors, travel and tourism experienced a rapid increase in remote working, a trend here to stay, thanks to enabling technologies. With 74% of companies across sectors planning to make at least 5% of their workforce remote, and 23% expecting to make at least 20% of their workforce permanently remote, the future of work will undoubtedly change. As issues from remote working and reskilling to well-being come to the forefront, what are the implications for the future of work in travel and tourism, and how can technologies best enable and support the sector? Facilitated by Gloria Guevara confirmed, President and Chief Executive Officer, World Travel and Tourism Council. 12.35 13.20 Panel. The State U. With states and cities taking an increasingly important role on the global stage, what is the role of states in enabling their destinations grow sustainably and inclusively, and ensuring the sector can reach its social impact potential? Mauricio Villadosal, Governor of the State of Yucatan Joe Y. Jabrilu, Director General, Ministry of Tourism of the Bahamas Roger Dow, President and Chief Executive Officer, U.S. Travel Association. 13.20